Welcome to the Finally Heard podcast, where it is attractive to be authentic. I'm your girl E,
And I'm Bree.
and here you can find your herd of people who have been labeled or personally identified with being the black sheep of their family or friend group. This is the place where you can be finally here, finally happy, and finally heard. Welcome to episode 1, y'all.
Welcome. Thank you guys for
Yay,
joining
we
us.
made it.
I'm so excited.
I feel like that Sesame Street be where Elmo be like, yeah. Sorry. Anywho, thank you guys so much for being here with us.
Oh, good.
I'm so
I
sorry.
can see the
I
vision.
know.
I'm elbowing and I know it.
Thank you guys so much for being here with us. We are so excited. Have finally made it to launch day, April 1st, what we have been telling you guys about for weeks and weeks and weeks on social media.
And everybody has been coming up. Have his launch day. What y'all doing? Are y'all ready? Can I get in? Like
We're here. Welcome.
We are here. Welcome.
So first, we want to thank everybody who has helped us to get to this place. First and foremost, thank you to our families and our friends who have dealt with us these last couple weeks of us leading up into this. Our husbands, Jonathan and Ralph.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Rufus, he has helped us with our photo shoots,
Yes.
our websites. He's the CEO of Spot Blemish Wrinkle. Thank you so much for all of your help. My mom,
Yes.
Cheryl Stokes, she was
The
goat.
She was
For our photo shoot.
Because it honestly, I don't do photos. So if she wasn't there, what y'all see on our website, by the way. We have a website. We'll get to that in a minute. But what y'all see on the website, it would have not been anything Thank you, Mom. That's all I can say. Thanks, Mom. I appreciate it.
So thank you guys so much for all that you do, all that you continue to do, all that you have done. Yeah. We really appreciate it. And then you guys for being here. You have, helped support it, help boost our numbers on social media.
YouTube, Facebook, you guys have really came through and really shown your support. So we really appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So here we are.
April 1st.
Well, so we're here. Today is episode 1. And today our episode is titled Hurting Memories. So because our brand is called Finally Heard, it is based off of, the herd, HERD is spelled that way because we talk about being a black sheep, and, it's kind of the concept of the herd and, how shepherds herd their sheep. And so we'll do a play on our episode names based off of kind of like,
certain definitions or just things pertaining to a herd. And I think it's kind of important for us to tell you guys how we even got to that place. Like, how do we even come up with Finally Heard?
Yeah.
So you want to go? You want me to start?
So I'll try.
Okay.
So L'Oreal and I met at church, and it's so crazy that we met because our lives are like we are literally the exact same person.
Is creepy, fun, crazy.
It is all of the things. And so we both knew that we really wanted to do a podcast. We both knew that we had been tired of trying to navigate spaces that we felt like we couldn't be authentic in. And so it's really difficult trying to be like a wife and a mom and like a Christian and a daughter and a friend and like all these avenues, but it's like you can never really fully be yourself in certain circles or any circle really, because everybody's always like putting a muzzle on you or
have a certain expectation of you that you put that on me. That's not really who I am.
Exactly.
It's time for us as women, as people, just to be authentically ourselves and not necessarily allow the stereotypes that other people put us in to become who we are. So we want to be, need to be should be finally heard by everybody.
Absolutely.
And what started it is one phrase: the one he came back for.
Yeah, so we were sitting in my office one day and we were trying to come up with a name for the podcast. And we knew we wanted it to be, the the thought of the podcast was going to be for people like us, but we didn't know, like, what, and then we just went into prayer, like, what is this going to be like? And then L'Oreal got the black sheep, like, oh, I think we should do it about the black sheep. And I'm like, it's so much stuff out there about black sheep, like, I don't know. And so I started shout out to Chat GPT.
Oh,
amen. And so I started typing in stuff into Chat GPT, and I'm like, oh, what is it? What are we? And so we started piecing stuff together. And I'm reading stuff, and she's like, "We close, but that's not it." Oh, man, that's not it.
We were so
close, and we was like hurting sisters. Yeah. No, and we piecing stuff together, and then I was like, finally heard, and I was like, "Oh,
that's it.
It's it." And we both started to cry.
I mean, and not like the cute cry, like it was like,
oh
my God. Now remind you, we are finally heard. But that's only because we were finally obedient.
Hello.
Literally.
They've been running their whole life.
Me. Just because simply I felt as if I was a black sheep. So I didn't feel like I qualified, even though the Bible says I qualified.
Right.
But I didn't feel like I qualified because of everything that I had been through, or what people were saying about me, or even things I felt about myself. So just the fact of the scripture and about the shepherd and how he left the 99 for one.
And it's crazy because the very next Sunday, our pastor,
shout out Pastor DJ Impact. Shout out. I just had to.
The very next Sunday, he taught about the parable in Matthew about how the shepherd will leave the 99 to go back after the one. And so we were talking about that, and then we were like, oh, the one he went back for.
Listen. And then the waterworks, the tears became even more, because it, even now, like, it hits different.
Because
it hits so different.
Because when you think about, and especially because, we're coming out of Resurrection Weekend and all that stuff, when you think about all of the things that are on the mind of God, like when he's running a universe, he thought about me. And he left all of humanity to come back for me. Like, I'll run right now.
Me, the one who at 19 got pregnant and was going to a Pentecostal church, remind you. So if anybody know anything about Pentecostal, that was like, go to the back of the church, scarlet letter, all of those type of things. So this me, he yet said, I want you.
Yeah.
The murkier you are, the more disorderly you are, I don't care nothing about that, because I see you for who you are in me, not necessarily what you're in right now. So I am the one he came back for. You are the one he came back for. There is nothing that you can do that literally will separate you from the grace of God. So being a black sheep it has almost for me been like I said, like a scarlet letter. It's been something that's heavy and just so wrong, and excludes me from it, from God's grace. And going through this journey with my heart right here, going through this with her, and us talking about what we wanted to do and what our vision was with our podcast, I'm like, this is going to touch so many people, because being a black sheep doesn't just apply to one area. And we tend to look at it as a negative thing, but being a black sheep amongst a whole lot of white sheep, that don't make me stained. That makes me unique. It makes me different. It makes me stand out in a way that that's what God created me to be. If not, he would have had all of us with the same face, doing the same thing.
And it's crazy that you mention it like that, because I was the opposite. I grew up knowing I was the black sheep and being taught that I was dope for being sheep. And then the
Mm,
church told me that my difference was out of order. And so I needed to settle down my blackness
mm,
of my sheephood.
mm.
Like, oh, you do too much.
Right.
Calm
Calm
down.
down.
And so I was quieted
Mm-hmm.
when I knew who I was
Right.
and I knew what I was capable of.
Mm-hmm.
And in every scenario I was put in, it was like, go to the back
Right.
because you shine too bright.
Right.
Go sit down somewhere because you talk too much.
Mm-hmm.
Go somewhere because you know too much.
Right.
Go sit down. And it was so disheartening. It became so deflating so often
Yeah.
that it took away my want to be great. You know what I'm saying? To the point where like I was depressed. Like I felt like I lived in a society that didn't want me to be me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, well, what am I here for if I
Right.
can't be me? Like,
Right.
what? I don't
Right.
understand. And it wasn't until I got to a place where God had to minister to me to be like, listen, I created you to be who you are, and it doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
who you come across.
That's right.
They don't have a heaven or a hell to put
To
you
put you
in.
in at all. And I
And
think that sometimes people forget that.
yeah,
Like very often.
and people have so in so many different instances have put on the hat of Jesus
Mm-hmm.
and been like, well, because Jesus has made us Christians, then on earth we get to
Right.
become him,
Right.
and in our glory we
Right.
will be the judge.
And see, what I have to remind a lot of people is that my Bible says that he searched the whole world and couldn't find not one person without a spot, blemish, or wrinkle, which is why he had to send his son down. Was simply because there was nobody on earth. He is before time, after time. He searched the whole world and some. He couldn't find nobody. So what makes you think that you're the judge and the jury?
Right.
Where is that?
Right.
So I don't know. That's just a part of,
Right.
you know, I felt like, and I have been labeled as, you know, being the black sheep. And actually, I was trying to find the definition, but when I heard growing up, when I actually heard the term black sheep, like I said, I thought that it was like a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the definition, the Cambridge definition, is a person who has done something bad that brings embarrassment or shame to his or her family.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who embarrasses, excuse me, a group or family because the person is different or has gotten into trouble. So for me, that definition defined me because to my family, oh yeah, you get pregnant at 19, you are the black sheep. You've done something wrong. You had a baby outside of wedlock. So it's like, you know, stay away, stay away. And being an only child, not really having anybody to go to, not having anybody to talk to, I was the black sheep. I was by myself, alone, like on my own little island. And I didn't have, I don't know, growing up, I was friendly. So like people knew who I was, but because I was so different and because I was brought up so differently than everybody else, I kind of was like the person you just kind of was like, oh, hey, and we had fun. But then afterwards, there was no true relationship. So that also made me feel like another reason why I felt like I was a black sheep, because it's like, man, not only am I by myself at home, but then when I go to school, I'm still by myself. And then when I go to church, I don't fit in with the church girls. And then when I am out and about, I see that I dress differently or I don't think like them. So I've always felt like I was literally on the outside of the room, always like peeking in. And
growing up Pentecostal, did you have to wear like the long skirts?
Girl.
Did you adhere to it though, or
yeah.
were you putting jeans in your book bag?
Listen, the only thing I did was I used to wear, my mom got my ears pierced when I was a baby. So I used to sneak with my goddaddy, and I know, oh my goodness, goodness. Everybody watching. Sorry, God Daddy, but I was with you and we had went to the movies and I had snuck up a pair of my god sister's earrings and then I took a picture. You know, they had the photo booths at like Chuck E. Cheese. I took a picture and it was so cute and I was feeling myself. So I went home and showed my mama, like, oh, Mom, look at this. And she was like, oh, that's a nice picture. But where the earrings come from? So from that point, I'm like, yeah, I probably shouldn't do this because I'm not smart enough to like do it and get away with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to wear the long skirts all the way down to my leg, to my knees. I mean, past my knees. But the thing about it was, I pretty much was the only child that had to follow that. Like my mom made me follow that, but the other girls in church, that's not what they were wearing. They didn't wear stuff like that. They got to wear their pants. They got to wear their tracksuits. But I literally was turtleneck. I was long skirt, and I had to play in gym like that. So that automatically made me a target, and I felt even more ostracized because I don't look like everybody else, and everybody else isn't responding to me. So it's almost like they're not getting to know the real me because they're kids. They don't, they don't know to look at what the person says in the character. They looking like, oh, you look a fool,
Right.
you look a mess. So yeah, oh
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah. And see, like I said before, like growing up, I think from that standpoint, I was straight. I grew up non-denominational. So they was just like, hey, just don't come in here acting crazy.
Right.
Right. And so we were straight. But when it came to dress code, but we were super sold out. Like we were, to this day, I'm be real honest with you, and this ain't no shade, no tea, but I don't think I've seen kids as sold out for Jesus as we were. Shout out to G5. I for real, we were nuts. Like we were like paraphernalia, hanging front. We were like, you know how people like celebrate like basketball wins and like they jump on cars and set cars on fire and stuff like that. We did that for Jesus.
See,
we was nuts.
See,
and so like but because we had that community, we didn't think we were weird.
Right.
Like we didn't think we were different.
Right. Because there was other people right along with you.
I would be in school and they would be like, what is wrong with you?
Right.
And I'd be like, I'm about to go to church with my real friends. And we about to love Jesus for real. Forget you. You need to know Jesus. Right. But then when I went to college, because we really thought everybody who was saved lived like that.
Yeah.
And then when I went to college, I was like, oh, we the weirdos. Everybody don't live like this.
They sold out for Jesus, but they sold out for Jesus kind of
quietly.
Barely.
They're a little simmered down.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay. So what I'm supposed to do?
So I'm not rolling up to driving to college. I ain't blasting Canton Jones. See, I'm blasting Canton Jones. Right. I'm rapping him.
Right.
They like.
No, we was like people were saying grace and we was in full worship.
See,
like lift your hands.
Glory.
Yeah, and they was like, we just was trying to pray over the food.
They like,
yeah.
Oh,
no, yeah. we was in there. So it was a very different experience, and so the culture shock of that, and then with that, it was, our rules were very definitive on a different scale. Like I noticed, like when you go to denominations, like I don't want to disrespect nobody, but they kind of major in the minors in some ways, like when it comes to like dress, like how you dress and like your makeup or your nails and stuff like that. Ours was like, if it's a girlfriend or a boyfriend, it's a distraction, so we didn't really date like that, and that kind of stuff. So when I got to college, and it was like everybody had, college campus.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, well, how did we get here, Lord? Like, and ain't nobody got no curfew.
Ain't nobody got no parents around. Nobody telling them
what your RA is like. Don't wake me up unless something's on fire. Like,
ain't no church ain't no Bible study every Wednesday.
They ain't sending help.
Okay, and Sunday we gonna have to find a church, and that's before online church.
Right.
So
we was spending for our lives.
Yeah.
You understand me?
Yeah.
So that was when I was like, that's when the tug of war started for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where it was just like, okay, and that was from the spiritual sense.
Mm-hmm.
But then in the natural side, it was like I was always big homie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because we weren't allowed to date.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm like interested in dating, and everybody's still like, all right, my nigga.
Right.
And I'm like, all right. Cool. But my roommate,
whole different
it's
a whole different situation.
And I'm like, it's a towel on the door again. Where am I supposed to go?
Can't go to church.
Where I
ain't got my people with me.
I don't have nowhere else to go, and I'm not sleeping in the lounge. So what am I gonna do? Like, for those who didn't go to college or don't know what it means when it's a towel on the door or when it's something on the door, it means go somewhere else.
Because I'm busy and I'm not studying. Correct. I mean, I'm studying anatomy
and physiology,
but
that's it.
That's pretty much
and not for a grade.
I mean, not for a letter grade. Definitely coming out with an A plus, but not for a letter grade. I'm getting an A plus. I don't know what.
Careful. Freshman in college, you don't know what's going on. I'm just being real. See, that's why people don't be wanting us talking.
Woo, baby.
Anywho,
yeah.
So there's that, and then you have that space in your life where you just like swinging from the chandeliers.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, I don't feel comfortable doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel comfortable in this space. I'm going back home to church. And then you go back to church, and then they like, oh, you're stained.
Oh, you got a nose ring?
Like,
and that was me. Oh, well,
that's how much a nose ring?
What did you? No, I didn't have a nose ring.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, baby. Like tattoos? Like,
I got tattoos.
You got a tattoo? Oh, the Bible says you're supposed to present your body a living sacrifice. But okay. Well, were you doing that? When you got 3 kids, but you're really supposed to have 4. Was you doing that when you was aborting that baby?
Jesus in your name.
So it'd be like those type of things. Yeah.
So, right, yeah. So, but my thing is, again, when you go back, it's where's the love at? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, and again, this not where we at now, because our church now is where we're supposed to be at and where we want to be. Amen.
Segue, I have to give a shout out to my church and my pastor, because I'm telling you, I made a post. If anybody has seen my social media or whatever, I made a post to where I literally thank my pastor and first lady, simply because I have never been in a place where it propels me to love more. It propels me not just to love others, but love myself. Mm-hmm. It builds up my character. It lets me know that, hey, God ain't tripping about what everybody else tripping on. God don't care about, all that stuff. He wants you. He wants you. He loves you. He cares about you. He knew what you was going to do before you were doing it. Yeah. You ain't going to hell for wearing nail polish. You're not going to hell because, like for me, you had a baby out of wedlock, or for, me, I was sexually abused growing up, and certain things that I got into and certain choices that I made was trauma based. Mm-hmm. So he like, God don't care nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Mary was they had some people in the Bible who had very questionable past. He didn't care about that. That was sin. It wasn't who she was or who they were. So that is so encouraging to be able to go to a ministry where I don't constantly walk through the doors feeling like I'm going to hell.
Yeah.
Because of what I said or what I did, or if I didn't do nothing this week, my thoughts was to cuss out that one lady who cut me off. And now because that's my thought, I'm going to hell now. I don't feel the condemnation behind it.
Yeah.
And I think for me, being a black sheep or feeling like the black sheep was because I felt condemned in every wrong choice that I made in my life. I felt condemned, not convicted. I want to be convicted. I want to feel convictions because it helps you to make better choices. Yeah. But to be condemned and feel like you just the bottom of the barrel, and even to be told that by so many people, you ain't gonna make it, you ain't gonna amount to nothing. My biological father said that to me. He said, you ain't gonna be good for nothing besides laying on your back.
Good God.
So it's been that black sheep, that person has been almost cultivated. So now I'm at a place to where I'm looking at it not based off of what everybody else has said, but now looking at it as I'm different, I'm special, I'm amazing, I'm wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm who God created me to be, and it's all right.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's a very good point, the whole conviction standpoint, because there was a point where I was being convicted for things that I did not do.
Mm.
For example, there was a time where I was the minister of music at a church, and I was living life. I was married. I was, literally minding my business.
Yeah, that's when people like to mess with you the most.
I had a young son. This was before my second son was born. And there was a situation where someone said that I had said something to him at church. And I was like, huh? Now listen to me. Listen, let's be clear. There is an old me.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And that old me would have said something to her. But if the old me would have said something to her, she would have cut her way deeper than that.
Yeah.
So if I was gonna go, I was gonna be all gas, no break.
Right.
It wasn't no point in stopping.
Right.
If I'm gonna get reprimanded for something, I'm gonna give you something to reprimand me for.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna just tip.
I know that's right.
So I get called into that office like, you need to watch how you talk to people. Who are you talking to? I didn't even say nothing.
I need to watch.
Well, we know that how you used to do things. And it just sounds like something you would say.
Look at that.
Huh? I put on everything. I didn't say nothing to that lady. And I mean,
used to be.
We fell out, like, to the point where not too much longer after that, like, we no longer served in that ministry. Like, that from that point of contention on, we did not recover from that. But it's like, how do you condemn me for something I didn't even do?
Right.
Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. I've been through that. I mean, I've been through that even with family, though. Like, I would get blamed for stuff. I would get whoopings for stuff. And I'm like, I didn't even do nothing. Nobody came and asked me my side of the story.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what? But you ain't gonna ask me. You just gonna beat my tail.
You just gonna assume I did
it. Like, even if that might be something I might do, but at least give me the grace. At least give me the chance to be like, no, I didn't.
Right.
And believe me when I say I didn't do that.
But it's always because you got the mouth, or you got the stronger personality, or that it's assumed that if it happened, it had
to be your fault.
Mm-hmm.
And that once again is another reason why that's just even more of a layer of that sheep that I took on. I think every situation where I was not heard,
yeah,
my feelings wasn't heard, I was not being validated. It was another layer and another layer and another layer on top of all the other stuff that I was saying, and it became very, very heavy.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna say that I'm totally over some things. I know that my coat is, I've shed some stuff.
Yeah.
But then sometimes also when you shed things, you then pick up stuff too, because when you've been in trauma for so long, it becomes your best friend. When you're used to hearing certain things and you start to believe it, being without it, you feel naked. So then it's like I'd rather put on the devil I know besides the devil I don't. So freedom is that side of things that I don't know, but I'm gonna go ahead and keep this on because this is what I've walked with for so long.
Right.
And for me, I feel like that's what I have done, and can't do it no more. I have 3 beautiful boys and 3 bonus children, and I have to walk out of that thing for them, because what I don't want is for the cycle to complete. To keep going and to continue.
Right.
So yeah.
So how did you see the effects of that start to like manifest, like in your life and in your relationships, and like, because I know for me the bulk of, you know, my black sheep experiences that were shaped started happening in my like late teens, early 20s. And then I started to kind of see the repercussions of them in like my 30s. Like, when did you kind of start to see, like, when it started kind of like manifesting, and then when did you notice like it was a problem?
I think for me, I cannot go back to a time where I do not remember feeling like the black sheep. I've always felt like it, and I got receipts to prove why I felt like it. Where I think I saw it becoming a problem or really, really manifesting, I remember I had walked into it was at the end of high school, and you know, everybody gets a graduation party. I didn't have a grad party because at this specific time in my life I was battling a whole lot of different things. You know, when you're coming out of high school, now I'm about to be an adult, now I'm going to college. I have my grandparents were amazing. They were everything to me. So I do have support that way, but it wasn't the support that I was looking for or I wanted. So I began to drink a lot because I didn't know what else to do. My dad's side of the family was alcoholic, so they would drink. So it kind of was just almost in my DNA. And I remember coming to my mom's house. I was actually, my god sister Danielle had took me to my mom's house because I wasn't driving at the time. And my mom looked at me and she was like, I'm really praying for you because I'm scared that I'm going to lose you because I was drinking. You talking about, remember 1800 back in the day, the whole bottle with the whole shot glass? I was killing bottles of 1800 with no problem because I was trying to suppress and suppress and suppress. And I just started to spiral after that. Got pregnant. After I got pregnant, got married. And because the church, hey, it's better for you to be married. Don't have no bastard kids. You already got one bastard. You don't want 2 bastards. So it's like one thing after another. And I was moving through life trying to not deal with the root of the problems or what I was feeling it with. So just one thing after another, and I just handled that situation and then moved on and went through another situation and moved on. But I was never really addressing the issue or problem. So it had been a downward spiral ever since that day, that time. And trying to think exactly the moment when I was like, okay, this has to stop. And I have to tell y'all that on another episode because I really do not remember what day, what time I was just like, okay, enough is enough. And maybe that's because I'm yet dealing with it. It's not over for me yet. The trauma is not over because it's not easy to go to people who have hurt you and tell them, hey, you hurt me. Because like the first thing that they'll do is they'll throw it back in your face and say, but that wasn't my intention. Well, that I don't even remember that. That was a long time ago. And it becomes dismissive. And then it's almost like you're ripping that band-aid off again. And the scars open up again.
Right.
So there's a lot of healing and things that I need to do and people I need to address and talk to. But but a lot 50% of my black sheepism, I just made a word, black sheepism came from church. The other 50% for me came from family.
Gotcha. I think for me it was I realized there was a problem when I had my children because I saw that I saw that they were starting to take on some of the issues that I had because they were mimicking my behavior. And I didn't realize that my behavior was so detrimental until I saw somebody else do it.
Right.
And when you see your 3-year-old do it, and you're like, oh, no, baby, don't do that. And then somebody goes, well, where did he get that from? And you're like, oh, where did he get that?
Where did that
come? Oh, he got that
from me. Right.
Oh dear. Okay. All right. So I think that was the biggest wake up call for me. And even now, like, and thankfully, with this being the age of social media and the age of therapy, thankfully, and the age of information, we know many more things. Knowing that a lot of what I was dealing with when I was a kid, I just thought I was a perfectionist. I didn't know I had anxiety. You know what I mean? I didn't know I was neurodivergent. I had no idea. You know what I mean? So some of the stuff where it was like I was talking to my husband the other day, and I said, "Hey, do you ever when you sit there, do your mind be quiet?" And he was like, "Yeah." I said, "So you be sitting there sometimes and like you just don't hear nothing?"
I wish I had that.
And he was like, "Yeah, no, it just be silent." And I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "Wait a minute, your mind don't be silent?
It don't turn off."
And I was like,
"Mine don't turn off."
And he was like, "So what do it sound like?" And I'm like, voices, like, and it's always people telling me what I'm missing and what I didn't do and what and he's like, that's got to be miserable.
It's torture.
And I'm like, you don't say. And it's background music. It's always a song.
Like what? Give me one song. What song do you remember that you playing?
It just depends. So like if we sing on Sunday, one of those songs to play for like 3 more days. And I just be walking the dog, like, and just be singing my little heart out, and be like, "Where did that song come from?" "Oh, we sang that Sunday." "Oh, okay, cool." And then, or if I practice a song, it'll be in my head for 4 more days. Like it's always a song. But I didn't know that as a kid or as a young adult. You know what I'm saying? So dealing with
you're teaching me something because I never knew that there was a classification for that. So for me, I'm thinking I'm weird because my brain does not shut up.
But see, that's another area where it made me feel like I was going crazy. Like
absolutely,
I was neurodivergent, and I'm like, I can't sleep but I'm like, I don't want to tell nobody about this because anytime I heard somebody saying that they heard voices, they put you in a white jacket
and they take you away from your family. They take you away from your friends. You don't see the light of day.
Or if you was at the church, baby, they started throwing oil.
Oh yeah,
like and you was and you was in trouble. And it's like it's not the type of voices,
right?
Like you know what I'm saying,
right?
And so and so you just gotta figure it out. And so it wasn't until my son started becoming a perfectionist, and he would do something wrong, and he was 3 years old. I'll never forget it. And we were putting a puzzle together, and he was trying to put a piece in a spot, and I'm like, baby, that piece don't go there. And he had a I'm talking about the meltdown of meltdowns. It was like you had told him that Santa wasn't real. It was that kind of meltdown. It was like, you will never eat pizza again.
Oh my
God. It was like,
my life is.
Yeah, it was like, what? It was one of them meltdowns, right? And I'm like, what is wrong? And he was like, I gotta get this right. And I went, oh no. No. And then I was like, but you sound like me. Oh dear. Okay, got it. And so, my therapy journey started. His therapy journey started because let's go ahead and just throw you in now. It ain't even no point in waiting.
I definitely wish I knew more about therapy growing up, because I feel like a lot of the things that has happened, or just my mindset about certain things, will be totally different if therapy was an option in our community. It's kind of that stigma of what happens in my house stays in my house. And then beyond that, I think just as our generation of parenting, we are more socially, emotionally aware and attentive to our children. And not that I agree with every label that they have on every child or whatever, but there are definitely some things that I'm looking like, I think I dealt with that. I think I struggled with this. But because therapy was off the table, I didn't have that outlet, and for me, I'm thinking growing up in it, church is that outlet for me. I should be able to come as I am, just like the scriptures I'm taught, and I should be able to bare my soul, and I should be able to confide in this minister or in this person because they're older than me, they're in Christ. So I know they got to hear from God, especially the way they be shouting and, speaking in tongues and all that type of thing, those type of things. But I wasn't getting that help. And I really strongly recommend, I tell my friends that even now that have children, take them to therapy.
Yes.
A therapist can get things out of your children and talk to them in ways that they won't respond to us. And it doesn't mean that they don't love us. It doesn't mean that they do not care.
Yes.
But there are, just like growing up, there was things that we never told our parents. We couldn't talk to our parents
Still
about.
Have not.
And probably won't.
Hello?
So take your children to therapy. Get them help.
And having, and I'm gonna take this sidebar, having Black boys in today's society, I need them to know it's okay.
Absolutely.
I need them to know it's okay to see a therapist. I need them to know to take this hour a week or 2 hours a week, that you matter enough.
Yes, you do.
That this is important enough.
Yes.
That this is just as important as practice.
It is.
That this is just as important as dribbling a basketball or martial arts or passing a football
or homework itself.
Or homework, whatever else you are doing.
That's right.
This is just as important. And you need to prioritize this just like you prioritize all those other things. Just like when I am not around and you go to college, you need to make sure you get your butt to practice, and you need to make sure you take your butt to therapy, because you need Jesus and you need a therapist.
Absolutely.
Because faith without works is dead.
Right.
And if you don't work your faith, it's all dead.
It's all dead.
So stop playing. Yeah. So absolutely. I think that we think that we are going to tell our children one thing one day, and then the penny is just going to drop for them, and then they're just going to be like, oh, you are so right. Oh my God, you have so much wisdom. Thank you so much. Wow. And it's like, no, I can show you better than I can tell you. So you're going to start therapy today, and then you're going to go for 5 years on my insurance.
And you're going to be just fine.
And you're going to establish a relationship with a provider. And I'm going to go ahead and pay for it.
And it's okay to be embarrassed about it. That's fine. There's a lot of things that I'm embarrassed about.
Yep.
However.
And you're going to get in this car.
And you going to go.
And you're going to go.
You don't lie, but you can make up, hey, I'm going to see a friend. You ain't got to tell nobody you in therapy. but I'm going to see a friend. But mental health is very, very important, especially for our Black men, because this world is not very friendly.
Correct.
And it's not made for them.
Correct.
I don't care what people say. It's not. It's not fair. It's not made for them at all.
I agree.
At all.
I agree.
Let your babies go to therapy.
Yes.
And be okay with the fact that they're not gonna talk to you. And the older I've heard, the older boys get, they love their moms, but they're males. Like even back in the old days, 13, 12 years old, they will take the men out of the home, but they will also separate those even younger from the mother because they had to learn how to be men and how to grow. So there's only so much nurturing mommy's going to be able to do, but it's also my job to tell you that even though I'm not there nurturing you, there is somebody out there who is in your corner to help you nurture yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, or whatever.
Absolutely.
So it's very important, and not just for boys.
Yeah,
for everybody
too. Absolutely.
Even me and my grown self, I need to talk to somebody. Yeah. I need help.
And I think that also speaks to the importance of community.
Yeah.
Because I think that if you can teach your children if you can't talk to me, and I teach my children that, and we teach our children that, that if you can't talk to me and you can't talk to daddy, you can talk to Nana. You can talk to Papa.
Yeah.
You can talk to Grandma. You can talk to your aunties are in your phone. You can G-Mama is in your programmed in your phone.
Absolutely.
Your godfather, Uncle Tim, is programmed in your phone.
You
can call him.
A community
your therapist is on by text message.
Yeah.
You can call her.
Yeah.
You have people that you can talk to if you feel like whatever's on your mind is inappropriate to have a conversation with me or your father about. Right. Because what I will not have happen is for any of us to be like, oh, I didn't know. Somebody knew. I might not have known. And me not knowing is okay.
Absolutely.
I ain't got to know everything.
Right.
But that's why it takes a village to raise a child, because everybody ain't good at everything. And as parents, and this is a whole nother episode, we'll get there.
Yeah.
But as parents, we need to understand that sometimes we don't always have all the tools for our children.
We don't.
God don't always give everything that our children needs. It's not always just in us.
Right.
We have to be able to seek the resources that our children need in order to be successful members of society. Sometimes you got to go out and get it.
You do.
And that's just the way, like, for example, my youngest son, I love him to life. He is a YouTube maniac, and he is just one who just loves to watch videos, and he just in the videos, and he just watch them over and over and over and over and over and over again. I can't do it. I don't have the patience, and I do not. However, my mother will sit there with him and watch them stupid videos until Christ comes back. So guess what? Call Nana.
Right.
Because I can't. I cannot do it. I don't have the patience. God did not give that to me. He did not give it to me. But he gave it to your Nana.
Yeah.
So call your Nana and tell her. And then he'd be like, I talked to Nana today. Did you? Yes. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
And now we are still happy. Instead of me yelling at him being frustrated about these stupid YouTube videos, and me taking the phone and throwing it clear across the room because I don't want to hear about no more.
He don't understand, and he like, she hates me.
Right. She doesn't like me. And she threw my phone. And I don't even know. I ain't even do anything.
Right. He's on this like,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. But that also having the right people around helps too. Yeah. I know for me, being the black sheep, or feeling like the black sheep, I have isolated myself too from certain relationships. I haven't always prized the people that I've had in my life, or I've been so scared to allow people into my life that I've distanced myself and I've kind of pushed people aside. So coming out of being a black sheep, coming into who God really created me to be, it does help because I need to have certain people around. But if I'm, like I said, in my trauma, or if I'm not loving myself or appreciating myself for who I really am, I can't cultivate those relationships that turn into long-term friendships so that my children can go to certain people, because everybody isn't going to be blood family. There are going to be some relationships that my children need from other people, but I have to be in a sound place to be able to cultivate those relationships and respect those people. So, I mean,
that's a really good point. So let me ask you this. When you think about where you are, do you feel like you're in a place now where you can build that community for your children?
I feel like I am now. And I think for me, my main community has always been church. I haven't really experienced a very balanced life. It's pretty much been church. So I got a false idea of what community really is. Like, I hear my husband Ralph talk about how at Word of Faith, how close and the youth really was, and how you guys leaned on each other, and you guys have those type of friendships and bonds and things.
I still got friends.
Yeah.
Shout out to Speedy and Diana and Evan and Daniel. Hey y'all.
So a lot of those relationships and things like that, that was my community, but my community was broken. So now, as I'm getting older, and now that I am part of Impact, I am learning so much. It's almost like I'm a kid again, and I get to experience what friendship is, and that even though me and this person don't agree, I don't necessarily have to throw them away. I just can't really deal with them that way. There were a lot of missed lessons that I did not get to experience, or I didn't learn. So I'm relearning all of those things again. So now I feel differently. I approach relationships differently. And I also am more aware that you don't have to approach relationships or friendships with giving all of yourself. There is a part of you that you have to hold and harbor and protect, so that somebody else being imperfect, you don't allow those things to penetrate or to hurt you. And I haven't always.
But did you notice that when you felt ostracized, that you felt like, or it could just been me, that you felt like you had to prove yourself as a friend?
Absolutely.
Man.
Absolutely.
When I tell you.
Absolutely. I was disappointed every time.
I would give so much of myself in friendship.
Oh yes.
Every resource, every asset,
just open.
Oh yeah.
Oh, heart open wide.
Come over.
Yes.
Spend the night.
I give you my brand new shoes. You want
take
them?
My card.
All
Here's my money.
Yes.
Please
come around my family. Be a part.
Watch my children.
All that.
All the things.
Absolutely, because I desired so bad. I wanted that community. I wanted that love. I wanted to feel like I belonged so bad that I was willing pretty much to sacrifice everything that truly meant something to me just to get just a bite. I just wanted a taste of it, and it never panned out well for me. It never worked out at all. And I'm now at the beautiful age of 30 and another number. I am now learning what to do and how to be a friend, and what it means, and that it's okay to trust and how to trust. So it has affected me in a lot of different areas. But for me, like I said, my church hurt came from family, which is on another episode, and it pretty much came from church. I can't say 50-50 because friendships had a little bit to do, but because church was my whole life, it pretty much came from that, because you believe in Christ, you love Jesus, I see you. You have to be almost perfect. You have to be doing something right. I'm seeing you on the pulpit, you're ministering, you're doing this, and you're doing that. So you guys got it. But I was empty, and I was alone, and I was scared, and I didn't have nobody to talk to. And then family, the other episode, that stuff, affected as well. So
do you feel like now, do you have to necessarily be Do you have to not be a black sheep in order to find healing from those old spaces?
Um, that is a very good question. Ask me that one more time. I'm gonna close my eyes and hear you. Say it again.
So, do you feel like you have to no longer be a black sheep in order to get healing in those places?
Hmm.
Because I still identify as a black sheep, but
I
I think I'm dope. And I think that moving forward,
uh
I'm just going to be radically different.
and I think for me, I'm there. Um, yeah, I'm embracing being different as I'm growing and I'm looking back at the people that I wanted to be in with,
Hmm.
all the way around.
Yeah.
I'm seeing like, oh shoot, I'm kind of dope. Oh
Hmm.
man, like I'm happy that I think this way. I'm happy that I've done this, and even though I'm not okay with certain decisions and choices I made, but I'm happy that I went through those things. So I'm not ashamed of being a black sheep anymore.
Hmm.
Um, I'm embracing it. I'm becoming to love it because God loves it.
Yeah.
Because God um he loves me and he's okay with me being how I am. He doesn't condone it,
Hmm.
but he knew that this is what I was going to be, but he also sees a me that I don't see and that other people don't see. And
Yeah.
it's not meant for them to see. So yeah, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
I'm healing through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm never going to take that. That's a part of me like my ear is. I'm a black sheep and I'm a dope black sheep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wear mine like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
I turn my scarlet letter into a badge of honor.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, it's still gonna be a badge either way. You gonna know who I am.
Absolutely. I'm a bedazzle mine though. I'm gonna put the rhinestones around it.
You
I'm a
gonna
3D affect it,
Oh,
Oh
okay.
man,
It's gonna have lightning bolts and stuff
listen,
shooting out of
LED
it.
lights,
That's what's
all
up.
type of stuff.
It's gonna move a little bit
Listen,
when
you
you
get
walk.
close to me, you rock with me, I'll let you change the colors on it. What you want it? Purple, green, orange, blue. Like I'm that is me.
That's what's up. Well, guys, we want to thank you guys again for rocking with us today.
Yeah.
Real
Yeah.
quick, we want to remind you guys we are live. Remember those announcements we asked y'all to pay attention to?
Hey,
Here they are.
hey.
It's live,
It's
guys.
live.
We're ready to rock and roll.
Yes, yes.
We want you to join us on finallyheard.com. That's finally HERD.com. Our merch is live. You can order
Yep.
and shop our store.
Absolutely. Ooh.
And let's get ready
And
to
just
rock.
keep your eyes open. We have a lot of things that we are doing. We have a lot of products that will be dropping. So just make sure you stay in tune. Make sure you comment. If you want to become a sponsor, please submit your request to admin@finallyheard.com. Um, next week's episode is a roller coaster of laughs, wisdom, unexpected surprises that you will not want to miss. So don't just tune in, invite somebody, start the conversation. Those things that as you're listening to us that maybe hit a certain pocket, go to that person who may have hurt you, may have offended you. Go to that person who you may have hurt or may have offended. Start the healing process of it all. Don't ever be ashamed of being a black sheep, but in your black sheepism, if you've messed up, make it right. Definitely make it right.
And also, if you don't know how to start that conversation and you need some help, that is what our community is for.
Absolutely.
Feel free to hit any of our socials and comment either on the podcast, or if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can comment right here and start the conversation here, and we can have a conversation about it and possibly help you through any questions, or even if you just want to talk about your stories or share your testimonials, and we can start the conversation right here.
Yeah, we're here. We're not just a face or two faces. We are literally here for you. So don't be afraid. I can't speak for Eve, but I'm gonna put myself out there to say, if you see me at church and you want to talk, if you see me out and about and you're like, hey, I saw your podcast and I just wanted to ask, I'm here. I'm here for it. So just don't be afraid. But once again, we need you to like, share, subscribe, help us to reach out to just more than just you. Talk to family members, friends, co-workers, let them know that this is not just a podcast. This is a movement. This is kingdom business. This is for healing. This is for fun. This is for just all around growth. So thank you for listening to Finally Heard podcast. I am Bree.
And I am Eve.
And we are the ones he
That you
came back for. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you guys again on Monday.
Bye.
Bye.